welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet Podcast. My name is Hannah. This is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live and where it is August 5th right now that I'm recording, and I think that this episode will go live on the 8th, which is Saturday. You should just know as a preface to anything I say from now until December that if math or dates are involved, I'm probably going to get it wrong. That is the part of my brain that this baby is eaten completely, and I am just wrong about dates and math all the time. I have so much progress to show you. It is truly shocking. Less from this week. Last week I was very productive, and before that I have some prize winners to announce. Woo! Insert exciting music. So there was a giveaway from the last episode where I have a giant stack of crochet and knitting magazines and little booklets, and I have to downsize a little bit because I just don't have anywhere to put them anymore, because there's going to be a tiny human joining us in a couple of months. So I've had to downsize. I'm trying to downsize and like pare down. So I went through all of the magazines, etc. Now, if you entered on Ravelry or you entered and you emailed me, I then put your name, just your first name and last initial, in the Ravelry thread as a placeholder so that everybody would have an equal chance. I didn't want to put all of the email people at the very end. I didn't think that was fair, so I just interspersed them. So I use a random number generator as always to pull prizes, and these are the winners. For the crochet magazine giveaway, there's 2 packages. The first one is going to post number 6, which is the username The Tangled Woods, who is Jennifer. And the second crochet magazine winner is post number 48, which is at HPF1974, and I believe your name is Sarah. So congratulations, you will get a package of crochet magazines shipped from me to you. I will send you a Ravelry message, and you need to respond with your full name and address. And then the knit package, so it's just one package of knit magazines, that is post number 15 that popped up, which is at CMH262, and I believe your name is Cindy. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you for participating. I'm so happy that these will be going to a good home where they will be loved instead of collecting dust in a closet because I don't have anywhere to put them anymore. But that's not the only giveaways I have. I also forgot last time I recorded to close the thread and pull winners from the You're Not Alone Cal chatter thread / FO thread in Ravelry, which is kind of an informal make along for the last pattern that I released. So I've picked 2 winners from that thread. There is a pattern prize, and then there is a physical prize. So the first person who won the pattern prize was post number 20. Your username is Cat's Mum. You are Susan, and I believe you're from Australia, which is super cool. So you can pick, I'll send you a Ravelry message. You can pick any pattern up to $10 on Ravelry, and I will gift that to you. And then the physical prize winner is post number 38, whose username is Hanny Wilhelm. Is it Hanny? Hopefully, Henne. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Phonics, who knows? So what you have won is a box, an Amazon box, even though it's not from Amazon, of Patton's worsted classic wool in all kinds of colors. There's blue, cream, there's some maroon under there. So I think that there is 12 balls of Patton's worsted in here, which would definitely be enough for a sweater, a colorwork sweater, or a small blanket, whatever you would like to use it for. So again, I will send you a Ravelry message. Please just respond with your full name and mailing address, and I will get that shipped out to you sometime next week, provided everything goes okay. This week has been a doozy. I'm so worn out that I left work today to go get coffee, which I never do, never, but I did because I'm so over it this week, and I will talk about why later. But first, let's talk about all the happy things and the knitting and the crochet. So if you're looking for me anywhere in the interweb, you can find me as the Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram, on Facebook. We have the Cozy Cottage Crochet Ravelry group, which is directly linked down below. And if you need anything at all related to the podcast, questions, comments, concerns, inquiries, please, please, please email me. That is the best way to get a hold of me. I have an email address dedicated to this podcast specifically, which is thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. Now with all of that out of the way, let's jump right in, shall we? You may hear some background noise. My husband is doing yard work because he's a delight, and I do not like to be outside. I think there's some crazy clouds, so it may rain. It's August in Florida, so it's been raining a lot, but it may not rain. I don't know. He's out there mowing at the moment. I have some finished objects. Yes, I said finished objects. That is more than one. You just prepare yourselves to be blown away by the amount of progress that I have made in the last 2 weeks. I don't know where all this mojo came from because I've completely lost it in the last couple of days, but for like a solid 10 days, I was on fire. It's all gone now. So don't expect as much progress next time. But I'm gonna start with the small finished object, and then we're gonna go on to the massive one that I cannot believe is done. So the small one is a pair of socks, of course, living in my sock bag with rainbow llamacorns on it. This is a bag by Slipped Stitch Studios, and it has the Knit Picks knitting unicorn on it, and I love this bag. It is my other sock bag, and what is in here is a finished pair of socks. I was very strict. I was like, I want to say it was completely monogamous until I got these finished, but I was like monogamous with 2 projects. So I had one that I worked on at night, and I had one that I worked on during the day. And this is the pair that I worked on during the day. So I was like, they're gonna get finished. And I'm not gonna have another pair of socks on the needles for a bit because I'm a little bit socked out. So I just was determined to get these finished so that I could do some other things. Now the yarn this is a Nora George Harry Potter colorway. This is the Hufflepuff colorway. So I have this much left. It's probably about 20 grams, plus this little nug that was separated from it originally. And this, I'm pretty sure, is a 75-25 merino or some kind of wool nylon blend. It doesn't say. And this was a lovely gift from a viewer in the UK named Lydia. And then the contrast toes was this black yarn that it's a mystery yarn. Maybe it's Serenity or something. And that was a gift from a viewer named Kim. And I love this yarn, and I'm very excited to have these done because you've already seen these. Baby socks, or baby mittens, I suppose, if you want to put them on their hands. This is my first baby make, and I wanted to have matching baby and mommy socks. So these are the 2 baby ones that got made a while ago. They took 1 day to make because they're so tiny. I did find them very fiddly, honestly. I don't really like making socks magic loop. But last time, I think I had just the one sock and the cuff of the second sock done. Bam! There's one. But wait, there's actually 2 socks. 2 completely finished socks. Are you impressed? Because I'm impressed. I didn't want these to turn into the January socks that were on the needles for 7 months. They're finished. Finished. Not only is the knitting done, the ends are woven in and everything. The only thing I haven't done is wash them because they haven't made it out of my whip bin yet. So these are the 2 socks, and these are the baby socks. Does this count as 2 finished objects, even though these were finished before? So this, I use my Chalgu red lace 9-inch circular needles. So it's 64 stitches I cast on. I do 15 rounds of 2x2 rib. Then I just knit the leg for a ways. I could have definitely made the leg longer. I just thought maybe I was gonna run out of yarn, but I could have probably added this much, but they're fine. I tried them on, they're super. So, and then I did a fish lip skiss heel. Then I knit the foot and did Mina's rounded toe from Mina's 2 at a time sock recipe. That is free. It's a knitting expat pattern. And I know everyone's gonna think that these are bumblebees. This is like a bumblebee theme, but it's not. These are Hufflepuff socks. So these are for me, and these are for the baby. And I'm probably not even gonna wear these until the baby's born. We'll see. That may be famous last words. It could get like a slight chill in the air around here, and I'm like, it's time for wool socks. So that is finished object number 1. A finished set of socks. Very exciting. And now I will empty out this bag and put away my leftovers and not cast on another pair of socks anytime soon. I just need a break from socks. Socks are like too much right now. So this is my entry for August. I actually finished them in August, so it's delightful. I believe is it August or September that the prompt for the Wizarding Mal 2020, which I am co-hosting with Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast. I have the FO thread in my Ravelry group. She has the chatter thread in her Ravelry group, and there's a prompt for each month of the year. You don't have to finish your socks in the month that the prompt is. Like, I worked on these for like 2 months. But the prompt is House Cup, so of course, I'm a Hufflepuff. The baby doesn't have a choice, it's gonna be a Hufflepuff. So, until it gets a personality. And then I'm entering that. I just have to take a photo of them. I have so many things to take a photo of. I have to take a photo of those socks. I have to take a photo of my next finished object. I still have not taken a photo of the finished Tunisian cardigan that I made a while back. So that one still is on my Ravelry projects as unfinished, even though it's 100% done, because I just haven't taken a photo. Like, what is wrong? I just need to take a photo. That's all. So that is done. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for 2 years, and I am not joking. I actually looked on Ravelry as to when I started this project, and it was 2 years ago. It is the shawl. Oh my God, I'm so excited. It was living in here, this bag that I made at Sewcation 2 years ago. It is the Transitions Shawl, which is a paid-for pattern by HANDKNIT by Cam. And I first saw this pattern on the Noble Character Crafts podcast, and she had made hers. And I just was like so impressed with what it looked like that I had to make it. So that's what it looks like. That is it's a fingering weight knit shawl. So this is my entry for the Mission Impossible Mal, which is a make-along running for the entire year of 2020. There's a chatter thread in my Ravelry group. It's super informal. It's to make something that challenges you. Whips are definitely included. And this is something that has really challenged me, not only because there was brioche at the end, which I've never done before, but just the sheer magnitude of this shawl is mind-blowing. So the yarn that I was using, I have a lot left of this green, and you can see the giant halo on this yarn. So there's light green, light gray, that has been completely untangled, dark green, and all of this is Valley Yarns Charlemont. That is a Webb's yarn. This is for 100 grams, you get 439 yards, 60% superwash merino, 20% silk, 20% nylon. And the light gray, I actually have this little nug of light gray left. I think I have about 15 grams. It's kind of poofy. It's not like that compact. I bet I have 15 grams of this left. I was thinking I was gonna run out of yarn for this shawl. So I actually weighed, I had 4 rows left plus the bind off. And they say when you're doing a bind off, you need to have 3 times the amount of yarn. And if you're doing a stretchy bind off, you should have 4 times the amount of yarn. So I weighed how many grams it took me to do 1 row, and it was 3 grams. So I rounded that up to 4 just to be safe. So then I was like, okay, so I need 12 more grams of yarn plus like another 12 grams of yarn for the bind off. And I had enough at that time. And of course it didn't take that much. My gauge is pretty tight, but I had enough. So I did every single row that this pattern calls for, all 680 stitches on every single row. And it took me 2 nights to do the last 4 brioche rows. Then it took me 2 nights. Yes, it took me 2 nights to do the bind off. The bind off, no joke, took me 4 hours. I hated it so much. And then it took me another hour on a different night to weave in all the ends and then give it a block. It took a little bit to dry, and then after it was completely dry and blocked and everything, then I trimmed off the ends because this is very slippery and I didn't want any of the ends to come undone. So you have never seen this shawl in all of its glory because it has always been scrunched up on the needles, and it's not anymore. Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna keep unfolding. So this is a half view of the shawl. It's going to get even bigger. It's huge, which it should be because it basically uses 3 entire skeins of yarn I would guess, maybe slightly under that. So you start here and you just kind of go, you make these color changes, and then it's all stockinette until you get down here to this brioche, which is like a one pass brioche, and it's super stretchy. Now I ran into an issue, and I had a moment where I absolutely hated this shawl. Not just because I was knitting brioche, but after I did the bind off, this border was so ruffly and it looked absolutely ridiculous. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is never gonna block out. And I don't know how to do it, because the problem is that my gauge had to change. So my gauge is super tight. I don't know if you can tell. This is blocked gauge, these tiny little stockinette stitches. But when I was doing the brioche, I had to loosen up significantly so that I could do the knit two togethers and the yarn overs and the things like that, because I couldn't get my needles in because my gauge was so tight. So I loosened my gauge significantly, which made this border much huger than the actual shawl. So luckily I went on Ravelry and I looked at some project pages, and I saw that other people kind of had a little bit of a ruffly border as well. So I was like, okay, so it's not just me and my horrible gauge. So before I blocked this, I was like hating it. I was like, this wasn't worth it. This wasn't worth it at all. This shawl is terrible. Like, I'm never even gonna wear it if it's gonna be all ruffly at the bottom. That is not what I wanted it to look like. So I let it soak. That's the wool wash I have, because that's what my local yarn store had. So I let it soak for like 30 minutes, and then I blocked it. Now, generally what I do, and the instructions in this pattern say to block aggressively. Generally what I do is pin something out to within an inch of its life. And so I pinned all the way across the top, got it as wide as I possibly could. And then I was gonna go pin on the bottom, but I found that I couldn't do that because the border was so much looser than this. So I ended up hand shaping it and doing my best to get this bottom border to a point where it looked reasonably even. So I think that I could have maybe stretched this stockinette a little bit more, but I didn't want to because I was hand shaping it. It took me like a half an hour to hand shape this to turn out the way I wanted. And then I threatened anyone who came near it. I was like, if you touch the shawl while it is blocking until it is dry, like I will cut you. This is not okay. So now there's a slight ruffle to the border, but it's barely ruffled. It just hangs straight down. And I will show you just on like one little piece of it. You can see that it hangs straight down, but it's so much looser. So if I pull on it, you can see that stretch is huge, but it's almost like ribbing that's just smushed together, because that's how I shaped it on the blocking mat. So I thought there was gonna be, I don't know, I was just like, is this even worth it? This whole thing, like sometimes you make things just to make them. I know it was beautiful and I thought it was beautiful at the beginning, but is it worth the time? And all I will say is yes. Here's my one mistake that I made like 2 years ago. Something happened here at the yarn over and there's an extra big hole, but you can't tell when it's back here. So this is so light, so airy. And I thought perhaps I would not like a hexie shawl, because I was like, I don't know how it's gonna lay. I feel like it's gonna be too bulky. I don't know. But I honestly am a fan. Like this is, I could wear it over one shoulder. Like there's so many, I could wear it like this, almost like a cape, without it falling off, because it's a hexie shawl, not a triangle. And because it's so light, because of the yarn and the fingering weight, it's not too hot, and it doesn't feel like all of this bulk around your neck. So I don't know, here's the wrong side. I know some people are really interested in seeing the wrong side. Here's all the reverse stockinette and the pearls. So I really am impressed. I'm like just super impressed with this shawl. I cannot believe that it is finished. The saga of 2 years of working on this, and then a 4-hour bind off, which all I can say is it was worth it. Like this is so luxurious, and I know it's because of the merino and silk, but like This yarn was splitty. I did not enjoy working with this yarn, even though it's super soft, because it fuzzes up like nobody's business. And I would not recommend making a garment out of it. It will not hold up. But a shawl, like you can even tell how, like it's got a sheen from back here. You can even tell. I don't know. It's just, it was worth every split stitch. It was worth all of the frustration with the brioche. Although if I were gonna make something like this again, I would not do brioche. I would literally just do 2x2 ribbing at the bottom. That would also be fine. Then I could block it within an inch of its life. So this is it. It's too big to even fit on the screen. Highly recommend, but only if you have patience and perseverance to finish it, because it may not take you 2 years if you knit faster than I do. I'm definitely like a million times better at purling than I was at the beginning of this, and that's part of the reason I started it, is because I just wanted to get better at purling, and I knew at the end of this that I would be, and guess what, I am. I still don't like purling, so I will like to avoid, but I mean, it's just perfect. In fact, I think I'm gonna wear it until it gets too hot in here. I turned the fan off because it was making a really annoying clicking noise. So it may get too hot to wear this in a moment. What else can I say? I don't have anything else to say. I'm just gonna keep rambling about how amazing it is that the shawl is finished, and this is my Mission Impossible Mal project, and it is finally done. It is 2 years old, the oldest whip. I am pretty sure the oldest whip I currently have is officially off the needles. I feel like We Are the Champion should be playing in the background. Oh my gosh. So excited. I'm so excited I need to take a break and have a drink. But wait, there's more. Now, this is my last finished object, and I think that this is quite enough of a finished object for one episode, don't you? But I have been working on some other things as well. So the first thing that I've been working on, I just hit myself in the face with this knot, and actually it kind of went up my nose, and that really didn't feel good. Okay, is a design, and you saw it last time, just barely started. It's living in this Mrs. Brown Bags design, and this is Yarn on the Prairie yarn in the colorway Electric Blue and Voltage. And I have made some progress. This is Electric Blue, this is Voltage, and this is what it looks like. So here is my stitch marker from where I was last time. So I have more than doubled what was there. It's going to be a cowl that's going to be this way. So it's going once around, and it'll be kind of like, you can bunch it up and be super warm. And it is double layered because you work it in the round. You carry your yarn up the inside. You don't have to weave any ends in, because you don't have to weave any ends in if it's on the inside of your project. And of course, you have this jog on this side where you can clearly tell where the colors have changed, but that's going to be on the inside of this. So I'm almost 50% through with this. This is 50%. When I reach the end of this ball, it'll be 50% of the green yarn. And I think actually I'm not going to get as many rows out of it as I thought I was going to with my math. So I don't think it'll be a problem. I may end up with like 10 to 14 less rows than I initially planned, but that was, I did math with an unblocked gauge, so this will stretch because this yarn is merino. It will stretch out. And let me just give you a close-up of the texture because it is delightful. I love it. I love the texture so much. And I think that these two yarns, even though this project has been frogged like 100 times, the yarn is not fuzzy at all. The stitch definition is perfect. The yarn is not fuzzy. There's no halo. The yarn is not splitty. Like, I honestly could not recommend this yarn more. And I'm not just saying that. The dyer behind Yarn on the Prairie Yarn sent me these two skeins to hopefully make a design with. And I am getting everything tangled up here. And I have taken forever to do that because I kept frogging it. And she sent me these as a yarn support. But I am not just saying that I like this yarn because she sent it to me. I like this yarn. I think this yarn would hold up and make a great sweater. Honestly, it has been frogged so many times. Especially this green yarn, it has been frogged at least 5 times. It's not fuzzy, it hasn't pilled, it hasn't split. And the stitch definition is amazing with this yarn. It's plump, it's squishy. I love working with it. Delighted. And it's neon. So I'm excited. I'm about 50% through. And this will be kind of my small project that I'll be working on alongside, hopefully in the next 2 weeks, a big monogamous project until that one is done. So that is a cowl design that will be coming soon. Let me put my crochet hook back in there so that I can take this to work. This is my bag that's been coming to work with me. Next, there is significant progress again on something for the final now that I will talk to you about, the year of the classics 2020. Year of classics, that is to make things that will actually fit in your wardrobe. This would go as well, except that I didn't know it at the beginning and I was very iffy about it until I blocked it, but it's light, it's fingering weight, it's airy, it is so versatile, and I love the colors. Even though I generally don't wear green, this is perfect, and so I'm going to wear it all the time, so it would definitely fit in the year of the classics. So what is next is living in my Halloween bag, because hopefully it'll be finished by the time of Halloween. And I put this button from Claudia of Crochet Luna on that says, "You've got this," with the cutest dog, because I feel like I don't got this. And I hate this part of the pattern so much. I hate it. And I'm having to like literally force myself to work on it, but it's gonna be done soon. It is the Angela cardigan, which is a pattern by Vicky Chan. Highly recommend her patterns. The yarn I am using is Loops and Threads Wool-like in the colorway Teal Lake. I have 4 balls of this, but I am only used 2 and almost 3. I will definitely finish this with this little floppy leftover 3rd ball. I will not need to break into the 4th ball. So that means if you were gonna make this like $12 in wool-like yarn, you can make this sweater. Now because my gauge is so different, because she uses an actual fingering weight yarn, I use a light fingering weight, which is wool-like. I am making the 3X size to get the large size. That's how I did the gauge math. But you could hold wool-like double and probably get very similar to the gauge that she has, because she uses a cotton fingering weight, I believe, so it's a little bit plumper. So just, if you're looking for affordable yarn options, wool-like, big fan. So let's see. It is still inside out. It is still covered in ends, but I will show you what I have finished. I'll have to take this off so that I can show you. I have finished the collar of doom, the collar that I have hated with my whole life. I really disliked working on this ribbing. This is ribbing in the 3rd loop with a 3mm hook. Well, it takes so long. But this is where I was last time. So I have done all of this down to the bottom. And I will say that the bottom is not quite even. So I'm gonna have to block that out because that's gonna irritate me. And I have also done one entire sleeve cuff. So all the way around, and this took 2 nights to do. One half of this took me 45 minutes. That's how long this ribbing takes. And this is what? Like 6 inches maybe? Like, so I kind of had wanted to have this done already, but there's just no way. The ribbing takes too long. So I still have one entire sleeve cuff to do. So my goal is to work on this a little bit every day, and so that this will be done by the next podcast episode. And then of course I'm gonna have to weave in all these ends that are sticking out everywhere. All of these dangly ends. I will need to reblock in some places. So it's very crumply at the moment, but like you can see, like this part is like super open and airy, and then this part isn't. Like it needs to be more like that. So I'm gonna re-steam it, but this is what the cardigan looks like. It goes down almost like halfway down my butt. The color is, all I can say is it also is worth it. And this is why we have Year of Classics 2020, because what we like to wear is not necessarily what we like to make. And I have not enjoyed making this. I didn't mind this part so much, just the endless chaining, but this border, oh, I cannot with this border. So this stitch marker on the inside is marking that the inside right now is actually the right side. So when I am done with this cuff, then I will flip it inside out, and then I will sew in all my ends, re-black. And it's probably gonna take a trip through the washer on gentle. You can totally wash and dry wool like. The only thing I would caution you against is putting it in the dryer with a lot of stuff, because it will fuzz. So I'm probably gonna just put this in the dryer by itself for maybe 20 minutes on low heat, and it should just relax these stitches as well. So it's a perfect color for me. I love blue, and I can't wait till that sleeve cuff is done so that I can actually wear this, because it's full of holes. It lets air in, but it's acrylic, so it also doesn't breathe. So it'll be like the perfect sweater to wear at work. And I'm just excited about it. Like, I can't believe, again, I've been working on this for like 6 months now. Maybe not quite that long, but there's a lot of stitches. A lot of stitches, y'all. And it is very close to being done. So fingers crossed that this will be done next time. Although that entirely depends on how I feel, now doesn't it? I have one more whip, and then I actually have some maker plans to share with you, which I almost never do, but let's see here if I can rejuge myself. Ah, yes. What am I doing? It's not looking as zhuzhy as it did last time. Maybe it's too tight. There, that's better. So the last project is, the reason why I wanted to get the socks off of the needles is so that I could have other tiny projects to work on. And so you might guess that this will be a baby sweater. And it is the first baby sweater. It is not done, but it's getting there. It's living in one of my favorite bags of all time. It's got an alpaca on it, and it says alpaca my bag. And it has an alpaca butt on the back, and I just don't know how you can get better than that. So the pattern that I'm using is the Baby Vertebrae, which is a pattern by Kelly Van Niekerk. This is a super popular pattern. Like, oh, so many people have made this. There's a baby vertebrae, there's a kid vertebrae, and then there's a mama vertebrae. And I actually had the mama vertebrae in my list for a long time, but I don't think I'm gonna make it ever, because I actually prefer cardigans that come at least like partially closed, and that one is cut so that it doesn't cover your front at all. And I like to like wrap up, so I don't think I'm gonna make it. But for a baby, it's perfect because you don't necessarily need a front on a cardigan for a newborn or an infant, because they're just gonna drool all over themselves anyways, and they're gonna be next to you. So this will keep their backside and their butt warm and their arms warm, and it's so cute. So the yarn that I'm using, let me find the tag of this yarn. This yarn was a very special skein that came in a box of yarn that a lovely viewer of this podcast named Amanda sent to me. And I was, oh, don't know what just happened. I was blown away by this yarn, and I was like, wow, like I have to keep this yarn. And she sends me yarn sometimes for giveaways or to keep or to make things. And I tried to not be selfish and to give away as much as possible, but I couldn't give this away. This skein was just like tugging on me. So it is from Groovy Hues Fibers. It is the base Cuddly and Groovin' DK, although I don't know, maybe it's a DK. It's probably a DK. I thought it was worsted. And it's been sitting in my stash for a while because I just didn't know what to do with it. I was like, maybe It should be a hat. I don't know if I have enough to make a cowl because it's just one skein, so you get 250 yards. It is 100% superwash merino. And it is the colorway O Industry. And I don't know what that means, but I love this yarn. And when I pulled this pattern and I saw that the baby vertebrae, you can get the infant vertebrae for free on Ravelry, but I purchased the pattern because then it comes in sizes newborn to approximately 2 years and 3 yarn weights. So you can make it in fingering, DK, or worsted. And so I bought the pattern because I wanted to be able to make it in this yarn without having to think at all. Obviously math at the moment, not my strong suit. And I really like, I'm just gonna hold this back here. You can see all of these color coded. That's how the pattern is written. It's color coded for different sizes and different yarn weights, and I find it very helpful. The only thing I will say is I am a little unhappy about the schematic because, and this is the schematic, there's only 3 measurements, which is shoulder to hip, circumference, and arm length. And I would much prefer, of course, to have some more detailed measurements like arm width or like more detailed measurements. But it's for a baby, honestly. So, let's see here. I have made quite a bit of progress because it worked up so quickly and because it's only half a sweater because it doesn't have a front and because it's so tiny. So I'm making the 0 to 3 month size, which is the 40 centimeter size, because I don't want to make newborn stuff. If the baby happens to be really tiny, then it'll just grow into it. So this is what it looks like. The back, it is gorgeous. I thought it was going to color pool like this the whole time, and then it started switching, so I was very much a fan. I have done one sleeve, and I am like a third of the way, half of the way through the second sleeve. This is what the front looks like. So it's so small. But once the sleeve is done, then you essentially pick up stitches all the way around and you just do some ribbing, maybe like an inch or 2 of ribbing right here because it doesn't cover the front. So could this be a more perfect use for this very, very special yarn? I don't think so. I'm gonna be able to get this entire thing out of this one ball because it's a 0 to 3 month size. I still have this much left. For the sleeve and for the ribbing, I will have yarn left actually, which is shocking, honestly. You can get a whole baby sweater out of one ball of DK yarn? What? It's everything. I feel like the yarn glows. It's so autumnal. Of course, the baby's coming in December, but like I feel like this is just the perfect color for a baby sweater. And because it's not super pastel, it's not going to show dirt that much. And it's superwash merino, I think. So if it gets something on it, hopefully I can just chuck it on the gentle cycle in the washing machine. So yeah, baby sweater. Oh my God. So if I have time tonight, I'll probably put a few rows on that sleeve because that's about the only amount of brain power that I have at the moment. That's the last whip, but I have 2 more makes that I am going to start to show you. And they are both baby sweaters. So once I finish that one, then I will put all of my efforts into finishing my blue mesh cardigan. Once that is finished, my plan is to then go on to the next baby sweater, which is living in this fabulous shiny bag that came from Emmy. Because oh my gosh. I don't know what just happened. The yarn attacked me, I guess. It is called, it's a pattern and it is only in the 0 to 3 month size. But it's called the baby kimono. But essentially it's a baby wrap cardigan. And the reason, let's see if I don't know if there's a better picture of it. Like this right here. It's a little wrap cardi, and I want to make it because I think it looks like a baby Yoda sweater. And you know, we need more baby Yoda sweaters. Yes, we do. So of course, the yarn that is going to be used is the fabulous green. Like, this is Yoda green. So the whole sweater is gonna be green. And I have to find one of these tags. So this is the beautiful yarn that was a gift. A couple of podcast episodes that I pulled out and I was like, it's so soft. It has to be something for the baby. This yarn is Knightsbridge yarn in the colorway Bishop's Green. I have 5 balls of 50 grams each, so I have 250 grams. This is going to take more yarn. It's probably going to take 150 grams, I would say, at least, of this yarn, because it covers both. It has 2 front panels that cross each other, so it's going to take more. So that's why I picked this yarn, aside from the fact that it's Baby Yoda green. But this is 65% baby llama, 25% merino, and 10% silk. I have never even heard or touched or seen baby llama yarn until now, and the second I pulled it out, I was like, this has to be for the baby, because it's a baby llama, you guys. So that is a maker plan. When that baby vertebrae sweater is done, I will be making this wrap cardi, and then we'll see if I have enough left to like make a little hat or something. So that's coming. And then finally, probably not finally, but also in the queue, Living in a Christmas Bag, made by Ella of No Catchy Name, which if you don't get her bags or watch her podcast, you totally should. She makes the most fun bag sets. But I like this one because it has Santas and snowmen. I am going to make a matching Gramps cardi for this baby, because if you have been around, you will know that I have made a Gramps cardi for my husband, and it was finished like in January last year. Sorry for all the leaf blowing. That means my husband's almost done with his yard work. So I said, would you be excited if I made a Gramps cardi for the baby that matched yours? And he said yes. So I had to order 1 ball of yarn because all I have is 1 leftover ball of blue from his cardigan, and I have 2 of gray. So I technically could have probably made it in gray with blue accent, because his was blue with gray, and so it needs to be exactly the same. So I ordered 1 ball of this yarn, which should be enough, because I have this plus a little poof of leftover. This only comes in the 0 to 6 months size, so it'll be a little bit bigger, so that's why I haven't started this one yet, aside from the fact that I'm waiting on yarn. So that will be fine. It doesn't need to fit a newborn, honestly. Where we have baby Gramps sweater, and then there's also a pattern that I had on my wish list called the Baby Opa cardigan, which is kind of like a Gramps sweater but in crochet. And a lovely viewer named Bruna gifted me that pattern, and it's a fingering weight crochet cardigan that looks like a little grandpa sweater, but I have not picked out yarn for it yet. And I thought that I printed that pattern. I have no idea where it went, so I'm gonna have to print it again. Ooh, I have the hiccups now. So I haven't decided what yarn to do that in yet, and I think that I'm going to make that in a bigger size as well, maybe like a 6-month size or 6 to 12 months, something in there, because if I make it out of fingering weight yarn and it's 6 months, then the baby could wear it potentially when they need a sweater in Florida when they're 6 months old and it's August. So that would be for like indoor use. So I think I'm gonna make a bigger size in that one. So I have to just figure out what kind of yarn to make that out of. What color, I have to go stash diving. And I just have not had the energy. So that's all the things I've been working on. So many, so fabulous. I am going to give you a quick bump date, which is a life update, especially focused on the baby. But it is 6:08, and I have to kind of wrap this up because I have a meeting at 7, and I've got to eat something in between now and then, because this week has been awful. I had like 10 days of amazingness, culminating in a Friday doctor's appointment like 5 days ago, where everything was fine with the baby. So I got my 21-week ultrasound, and everything is good. There's 5 fingers, 5 toes on each hand and foot, There's all 4 limbs. There's all 4 chambers of the heart that was pumping. All of the organs are in there, the diaphragm, I don't know what else they were looking for, but all kinds of stuff. The baby's brain looks good. Like, everything looks good. There's so much movement. They said the baby weighed 13 ounces, which is measuring right on schedule. The doctor said that I have gained 5 pounds, which is still not how much I weighed before I got pregnant because I was so sick. But she was like, finally, we're seeing the scale move in the right direction. And I was like, okay, it's not my fault that I couldn't eat, okay? I'm doing better now. As long as I take all of my medication exactly on schedule, it's manageable. So this is the bump date. The baby bump is bumping. It is round and hard, and there's definitely a baby in there. There is no hiding it anymore. It is out there. It's like bam, wha-bam. I know it's not as big as it will be, but it's pretty out there. So I'm going to end with the most exciting news, honestly. So I guess that appointment was delightful. And then the weekend was pretty good. And then Monday, I had a dentist appointment. Now, this dentist appointment has been rescheduled twice. Once because the pandemic happened in March and everything shut down, so I couldn't go in. That was before I knew I was pregnant. And then once again because I was sick, and I was like, there's no way I can sit through this right now. So I rescheduled it. But I couldn't put it off any longer because I have a tooth that has been bothering me for so long, and I haven't even been like eating on this side. So I go to the dentist. I spend 4 hours at the dentist. The dentist, by the way, is my least favorite place on earth. I do not hate the dentist personally. I'm not afraid of the dentist, but no matter what they do, it hurts me extremely. Luckily, I have found finally in my life, found a really good dentist who takes me seriously. When I say I can still feel it, they always max out on the amount of like Novocaine they're allowed to give you, and I can still feel stuff, but he actually believes me. He takes his time. Like, he's a wonderful dentist. And he has fixed teeth on this side of my mouth that I've had problems with for years. So I was going in thinking, okay, I have a cavity, like, hopefully my tooth isn't cracked, but I have a cavity and they need to take it out like they did this tooth, like basically take the tooth apart and repair it and then put the cement or whatever, the fancy filling back inside. Well, they couldn't do that because my tooth was cracked right down the middle. And he was like, well, so this is why you're having problems, because your tooth is cracked and I can fill it. However, it's cracked. So the filling will last a few months, possibly till the end of the year if you're lucky, maybe a little longer, but it's going to come out because the tooth is going to keep cracking and it's not going to be able to hold that filling. So the filling's going to come out and the tooth is going to go like this. And then when that happens, there's no saving that tooth. When it goes like this, you have to pull it. So the only option is we're going to do a partial crown. And I was just like, oh, that sounds so painful and so expensive. And believe me, it was. Now, I'm very thankful for him. He gave me a discount, which he did not have to do. Although I probably wouldn't have been able to get a crown if he didn't. So I have a temporary crown. Aha. You can see it's a different color. And in 4 weeks, I go back for the permanent one. They're making it. There was so much drilling. And they had to fix another tooth in front of it. This was Monday. Monday was like the worst day. Whenever I go to the dentist, I want to take the entire day off because I hate being out when my face is numb and they have to use so much. Like, I was at the dentist at 8 a.m. My mouth was finally had feeling at 5 p.m. That is how much numbing things they had to do. I was completely correct that there is no way I could have sat through that 2 months ago. Literally no way. Impossible. But I had to go to work. So when I finished up at the dentist at like noon, I had to go straight to work because other people are out of the office and on vacation. So I had to go and basically just exist at work. And Monday was the worst day of all time. Like, I couldn't feel my face. So I was trying to talk on the phone and answer people, and this half of my face was frozen. My stomach was so upset because I had only eaten breakfast, and you can't eat like when your mouth is numb because it would just come right back out. And I didn't want to like chop a hole in my tooth by biting my lip accidentally. So I couldn't eat anything until like dinner. I managed to get like a package of Pop-Tarts down at like 3:30 by like dissolving it in my mouth. So Monday sucked. And my jaw still hurts. And my tooth still hurts. Like it's so sore from all of the stuff that they did that I actually took a Tylenol Monday night so I could sleep. And I've been like I've been kind of like avoiding medications and stuff unless I have to take them for nausea because, you know, I'm growing a human. So Monday sucked. Then Tuesday, I felt like I had surgery almost. Like, and maybe that's just because I'm pregnant and like all of my energy is going to that. So my body couldn't handle both of them. But yesterday I was so wiped out. It was unbelievable. So work was awful because I was just trying to exist and be a human and be productive. And it was terrible. And then today was fine, except that I made a mistake last night and ate some Chick-fil-A, which I love Chick-fil-A. Nugs for life. But chicken has been repulsive to me since I started being pregnant. But I kind of like talked myself into it. Like I got some chicken nuggets. Like it doesn't look like chicken. There's no bones, there's no ligaments, there's no fat, there's no skin. It's just like a nug of chicken. It's not gonna hurt you. And it tasted so good, honestly. Like it was such a good decision at the time. And fries, I haven't had Chick-fil-A fries in so long. It was amazing. I had all the sauces. Except that today my body has been like, oh, no, you did not. So I guess chicken is officially off the menu, just like beef for the rest of my pregnancy. It makes my nausea so much worse. I had a running theory that beef made my nausea worse, and it for sure does. The last time I had beef, actually I haven't had any in like a month and a half, except for Friday night. My husband and I went out for a 9-year wedding anniversary to a little place. We made a reservation, and I had a filet because I was just like, screw it. If I feel like crap tomorrow, it's worth it. And it was worth it. But oh, did I regret that on Saturday. So I guess chicken is the same. My body just can't process it or handle it or deal with it. R.I.P. Nugs. Someday I'll come back to you. I also can't handle anything spicy, and I love spicy food. I was hoping this baby would be like a fire breather. No. I can take like the tiniest bite of spice and my whole body's like, no, get it away from me. It's ridiculous. So all day today, I've just been very grouchy because my stomach hurts and the nausea has been awful and work was just a lot. And this week is just a lot. Like I'm over this week and it's Wednesday. And after this podcast, I have a meeting to go to. And then luckily that's the last thing I have to do this week. Obviously I have to go to work tomorrow, but I don't have any more meetings or commitments or anything like that until Sunday. So thank goodness. So now that I have ranted at you about life and teeth and whatnot, I want to share with you the most exciting news of all time. So on Friday, I had my doctor's appointment. We were able to find out what the baby is. And drum roll, it's a girl. It's a girl. It's a girl. It's a girl. And the ultrasound technician was very sure. She was like looking at it twice and she was like, you see this and this and this? That means it's a girl. It's definitely not a boy. I was like, what? So I'm really, really so excited to know that. My husband was like, yeah, I thought it was going to be a girl the whole time. I was like, really? Because I had no idea, but I thought if it was going to be anything, it was going to be a boy just because I wanted a girl. It was going to like spite me. So it's a girl. We're working on names. Don't ask me about names yet. Okay. It's not finalized. We're working on it. We have a very strong contender working on a middle name for it. So I will let you know once it has a name officially. But for now, just know that the bump date is that the belly is bam, and it's full of a girl. So I think that is the most exciting and good place to end. It is 6:18, which gives me exactly enough time to finish this video and then go to Wawa and get a sandwich before my next meeting. I need food. Okay, I have to stop. I'm going crazy. Until I see you next time, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Woo, it's so exciting. If you've sat through all of this so far. If you want to be kept up to date, there's a new episode that comes every 2 weeks on a Saturday for this channel. Hit the subscribe button down below. If you are a giveaway winner, I will send you a Ravelry message. Please respond to me so that I can get these mailed out and lighten the load in my house. And happy crafting. I will see you in 2 weeks. Be kind to yourself. And happy August, y'all. Bye.